Hello, this is Charles Copeland, the founder and COO of FlexAir Flight Training. Today we're going to be talking about test prep strategies. First of all, tests suck. Even just talking about the written test, every pilot I know, the blood runs out of their face. They would just absolutely rather go get a tooth pulled at the dentist than have to study and take a test. However, it's a necessary evil. You'll be taking written tests for the rest of your career. They are easy and manageable once you have a great set of test taking skills. I promise you, every year when I do my annual training as a professional pilot, I know what to study. So that's how we're going to teach you. We are going to teach you how to know what to study. I barely even study anymore, which I shouldn't tell you that, but I know so specifically what to study, how to go past the test. It's easy. So we're going to talk about it today. The tests set the tone, okay? When you show up to your check ride, the first thing they want to see is your written test score. It's number one. They have to do it. If you get a minimum score of 70%, they're going to think you're barely qualified to fly the airplane, and they're going to make sure that they put you through the test, right? If you get a 90% or higher, they're going to think you're a pretty good little pilot. And you go in and they say, wow, they got a 90. They got a 96. Wow, they know what they're doing. And so now all I'm here is just to ensure that, right? When you get a 70%, you barely are scraping by. So it sets the tone. Your instructor also isn't going to sign you off until you get a 90% on the practice test. So our goal is to figure out how to spend the least amount of time to get to that as quick as possible, right? And if you haven't taken the test, eventually we have to stop flying with you. The instructors are actually told on the private pilot, once you've soloed, if you haven't taken the test, drop them. Literally just drop them. So our goal is to teach you how to study smarter, not harder, right? So we've got a repeatable process to make this as easy as possible. The first thing I'm going to tell you to do is take a benchmark practice test, okay? So Pilot Institute, that ground school is great. I'm not going to show you it because I don't have a good login that makes this process easy. So I will be using a free resource online. I highly recommend use the Pilot Institute for all of this. Study Buddy, as I show you, will pull that up. You'll just take a benchmark test. Whatever you get, doesn't matter. It's a benchmark, okay? You don't have to study for the benchmark test. You actually don't want to study for the benchmark test. Let me repeat that. The first benchmark test you take, you do not want to study, right? Why? Because practice tests evaluate what you know, all right? We want to know what you know. And then the only thing you're going to study is what you don't know, right? So instead of just studying willy-nilly, figure out what you need to study. Take the benchmark test. Then what you're going to do is you're going to tally up what you answered wrong, and that's going to decide what you need to study. All you've got to do is study for 4 sessions for a half hour, then take another benchmark test. And you're just going to keep repeating it. Now, granted, we would love you to do 6 study sessions of 30 minutes each. It really, 4 to 6, it's a huge amount of improvement, but at a minimum of 4 sessions. So I'm going to show you this. We're going to go through this process together. So first thing you do, Sporty Study Buddy, Google it. Right, exactly. So put it in the search bar, Google it. Then you're going to go to the FAA Knowledge Test Prep right here. It's already purple because I've been going to it a lot. And Sporty's is trying to sell you something, okay? This is the free version. So just ignore all of it. It's going to pop up. It's going to ask for your email. It's going to try and sell you the $10 thing here, the $200 thing there. If you're going to buy a program, if you're full-time, we require it. The Pilot Institute, okay? Don't get Sporties. So what you're going to do is you're going to come in here. You're going to take a benchmark test. Now, if you're full-time in Manhattan, you can take it at our office. But otherwise, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to take a practical test. You need to read all of this. Be very familiar. All of your tests are going to be the same, okay? They're good for 24 calendar months. You want to take it sooner than later so you can focus on the fun part, which is flying. So you're going to begin test. You're going to go through, and you really want to make sure you read the whole darn thing, okay? Read the whole darn thing. I cannot tell you enough. So, it says you want to read stuff. So unless otherwise specifically authorized, no person may operate an aircraft that has an experimental certificate. And so you want to put, I don't even know this one. What a terrible example. I would say, I don't know. We're just going to go with this one. I should have got you a better one, but this is another good example. So when it says, refer to figure 21, area 1, what is this common traffic advisory frequency for Minot Airport? You want to open it. If it gives you the option to enlarge it, have bad vision. But the big thing is it says area 1. You got to read this stuff, guys, because otherwise you might be looking, granted this is North Dakota, you might be spending the whole time trying to figure out where this city is. So it's saying, what is the CTAF for Minot International Airport? It's going to be 118.2. So we'd go back. 118.2 is an option. We'd go there. Okay, so once you've done this, you're going to go through. You get 2.5 hours, just like the real test, 60 questions. And you're going to finish it. And you're going to click grade. Okay? Wow, I actually got something right. So, yay. You're going to figure out what you got wrong. So what we're going to do is you're going to go in here. I've already taken one. I did pretty decent. I think I got 50%. I took it in 4 minutes. I don't recommend doing this. And you're going to figure out what questions you got wrong. Okay? So we said tally up your wrong questions was the step to success. So what you're going to do is you're going to figure out in the category regulations under FAR 91. Okay? So first thing you're going to do, regulations under FAR 91, you got one wrong so far, okay? If you get multiples of those wrong, you're just going to change the number to 2. You can tally them. If you like to use a pen and paper, feel free to do that. So the second one is going to be ADS-B surveillance systems, okay? So ADS-B surveillance systems. I hope I spelled that right. Don't judge me if I didn't. And we're just going to keep adding them up, okay? Pedostatic system 1. So there's pedostatic system 1. So you're going to go through the whole system like that until you get a list of all of the questions you answered wrong. So if you remember, I told you you're going to look at your top 5 worst categories. So I know it's kind of a weird way to say it, but you guys see in this test, I did pretty bad. Regulations under FAR 91, I missed the most out of that. So that is one we are going to study. So you're going to go through and figure out which ones you got wrong until you've come up with 5 categories that you need to study. So the 5 categories I need to study are regs under FAR 91, communications, airport operations, cross-country flight, and weather forecasts and reports. So then you're going to go through and you're going to go into the test prep, go back to test prep, study test questions, create a new session. And you want to study specific categories of questions. Why? Because you don't need to study what you already know, right? You're just going to waste your time. And I know you're really wanting to spend time on Instagram, TikTok, whatever that shooter game is. I don't know. Oh man, my mind just drew a blank. I can't even think of what that online game is called. So you're going to study specific categories of questions. And the top category for me was regs under FAR 91. So that's FAA regulations. You can actually just open all of these if you want. And regulations under FAR 91, I want to study all of those. Okay? So this is how you create a smart study. So there's 139 of these. I could literally just study these. Now, it seems like a lot of questions, but guys, typically what they'll do is they'll ask the same question different ways. So when you get into studying, it'll say, what is the CTAF for Minot International Airport? The next question might be something like, does the Minot International Airport have a CTAF? And if it does, what is the frequency, right? It's the same question, just a little bit different. And so don't be intimidated by the number of questions, right? There's like, I don't know, 2,000 questions, I want to say, 1,500 questions, a lot of questions. Specifically, there's probably only a couple hundred. So, and you're going to know a lot of these. It teaches you the vocabulary, it kind of teaches you the stuff. Studying for this test will actually help you understand what the flight instructors are talking about. They're not going to be teaching as much. It's going to start becoming review, or it's going to make sense. Oh, you're going to connect the dots. Really take this test as fast as possible. Eventually, we will ground you. There comes a point in time in the flying where we can't continue because you have to have this test done. So get in, study smarter, not harder, right? I'm not trying to be funny, but take the benchmark test, tally up what you answered wrong, make a study list, study, right? That is somehow always the skipped step. And then just repeat the process. Take another benchmark test. Practice tests evaluate your knowledge. I know I've already said this, but if you get a 50% and you take another practice test, your brain hasn't learned anything. So it's probably going to be pretty close to 50%. But if you go study material you don't know, you'll probably increase about 5 to 8% every single time. And so it might take a couple iterations of this, but it's really important that if you start off at a 62% and you need 30% to get up to a 90, 28%, it's going to take you 2 to 3 of these iterations to get up to that 90%. So you need to start sooner rather than later. But you'll definitely see, if you repeat this process, 5 to 8% gains every single time until you get about to like 92 to 96%. Typically that's about the max. It's hard to learn the 100%, I'll be honest. Once you get 92, that's like the best you can do. Just stop, go take the test. You walk into an examiner with a 92%, ask your instructor. That person's going to be thrilled. Anyway, if you have any questions, your flight instructor is always the #1 resource. You can also reach out to our office team, info@goflexair.com. Good luck and Godspeed.